world where fame often masks the soul's deepest struggles, one rock star's life takes an unexpected turn that challenges everything he thought he knew. Jake, a celebrated musician, seems to have it all: money, adoration, and a life on stage. But beneath the glittering facade lies a profound emptiness, a longing for something deeper that he can't quite grasp. Then, in a split second, everything changes. A single moment transforms his life forever, plunging him into the depths of a near-death experience that will alter his perspective on life, love, and purpose. Have you ever wondered what happens when we face our own mortality? What if a brush with death could illuminate the very essence of existence and inspire a journey of transformation? Join Jake as he navigates the turbulent waters of fame, spirituality, and the quest for true meaning, revealing that sometimes the most profound revelations come from the most unexpected places. If you enjoyed Jake's incredible journey and want to explore more inspiring stories, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us bring you more captivating content. If you found value in this story, please take a moment to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you and appreciate your insights. And remember, sharing is caring. Spread the word and help us inspire others with powerful stories like Jake's. Thank you for being a part of our community. As the sun began to set, a golden glow enveloped Grant Park in Chicago, Illinois, signaling the arrival of a vibrant summer evening. The air buzzed with excitement and thousands of eager fans gathered, their faces lit with anticipation for the performance of their rock idol, Jake Rivers. Colorful lights twinkled like stars against the backdrop of a darkening sky, casting an enchanting spell over the crowd. The faint but unmistakable thump of music resonated in the distance, syncing perfectly with the pulse of the gathering crowd. Jake Rivers stood at the front of the stage, a striking figure who seemed to draw energy from the sea of fans before him. His rebellious spirit radiated from him, accentuated by his tousled dark hair and piercing blue eyes that sparkled with mischief. Clad in a leather jacket that felt like armor, Jake was the epitome of rock and roll charisma. As he leaned into the microphone, his voice surged with raw intensity, carrying the weight of his powerful lyrics. He sang of freedom, defiance, and a yearning to challenge societal norms, captivating his audience with every note. Cheers erupted like fireworks as fans waved their hands, some even igniting lighters in solidarity, lost in the magic of the moment. Standing slightly apart from the frenzy was Sarah Collins, Jake's girlfriend and a spiritual healer with a calming presence. With her long, flowing hair and gentle smile, she seemed like a tranquil oasis amidst the whirlwind of energy. Sarah adored Jake's passion, but felt a nagging worry in her heart. She believed in the power of connection and the unseen forces that shaped their lives. And as she watched Jake enthrall the crowd, she couldn't help but wonder about the influence his rebellious lyrics might have on their fans, especially those who were searching for meaning in their lives. Next to her was Mark Thompson, Jake's best friend and loyal bandmate. Mark always stood by Jake's side, cheering him on through every high and low. However, tonight felt different. While he enjoyed the thrill of performing and the roaring crowd, he sensed an underlying tension, a worry about Jake's reckless lifestyle. Mark glanced at Sarah and saw her concern mirrored in his own eyes, a shared unease that pulled at their hearts. As the excitement in the park swelled, it transformed into a living, breathing force that united everyone present. Laughter, cheers, and the sound of instruments being tuned filled the air, creating an electric atmosphere. Jake took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his audience's hopes and dreams resting heavily on his shoulders. Little did they know, this night would lead them on a journey far beyond just a concert. It was the beginning of a life-altering experience that would change everything. As the spotlight blazed down on Jake Rivers, he clutched the microphone tightly, ready to challenge the norms. The electric energy surged through him, fueling his performance as he dove into the first song of the night, a bold anthem that questioned the typical beliefs about the soul and the afterlife. With each lyric, he struck a defiant chord, comparing the soul to a wild river that refuses to be contained. "We're more than just flesh and bones," he shouted, his voice ringing out like thunder across the park. "We're spirits on fire, shining bright in a world that tries to snuff out our light." The crowd roared, a wave of excitement washing over them as they swayed together, lost in the intoxicating rhythm of rebellion. His loyal fans cheered, fists raised high, fully embracing Jake's message of freedom and individuality. But among the thrill, a ripple of concern swept through some attendees. A few skeptics stood with furrowed brows, their arms crossed tightly, doubt etched on their faces. They exchanged uneasy glances, questioning the wisdom behind Jake's bold dismissal of spiritual truths. The conflicting emotions in the audience mirrored the complexity of the moment, sowing seeds of tension and uncertainty. As Jake poured his heart into each verse, he caught sight of Sarah in the crowd, her face a mix of admiration and worry. Her stomach twisted with unease, feeling the weight of his words pressing against her chest. After the performance, with adrenaline still pumping through his veins, Jake leaped off the stage, exhilarated by the roaring applause. But Sarah was waiting, and her concern couldn't stay bottled up any longer. "Jake, we need to talk," she called out, her voice urgent. "What's wrong?" he replied, his tone light and carefree, unaware of the storm brewing within her. "That song! You're sending the wrong message!" Sarah argued, her eyes wide with intensity. "You can't just dismiss the soul like that. What about the people who look up to you? What about their beliefs?" Jake shrugged, confidence radiating from him. "It's just music, Sarah. I'm here to shake things up, to make people think. If they can't handle it, that's their issue, not mine." "But you have a responsibility. People are influenced by what you say," she fired back, frustration bubbling over. "You're playing with fire and it could burn us both." His smile faded, replaced by a serious expression. "You don't understand. This is who I am. I won't be silenced by anyone, especially not you." Tension hung heavy in the air, each word a sharp jab in their escalating conflict. Sarah felt the distance between them widening, her heart aching as she realized that Jake's passion for artistic freedom collided dangerously with her fears for his influence over their fans. Their heated exchange left them both breathless, standing on the edge of a deeper rift than just a disagreement. As they walked away from the stage, the thrill of the night began to fade, replaced by a haunting uncertainty. Unbeknownst to them, the storm that gathered in the distance mirrored the turmoil in their hearts, a foreboding sign of the chaos that was about to unfold. As the concert continued, the atmosphere took a dramatic turn. Dark clouds began to gather ominously over Grant Park, swallowing the sunlight and casting a shadow over the excited crowd. The air felt heavy, charged with an electric tension that mirrored the emotional turmoil unfolding on stage. It was as if nature was bracing itself for what was about to happen, reflecting the calm before the storm that was palpable in the air. Jake's rebellious lyrics rang out, defying the conventions of life and the afterlife. But beneath his powerful voice, a distant rumble of thunder hinted at a brewing storm. The wind picked up, swirling around the crowd and sending a chill through the concert-goers. Sarah, positioned near the front, felt an unsettling knot tighten in her stomach. Something didn't feel right. It was an instinctual recognition that danger was closing in. With every crack of thunder, her anxiety intensified. The once vibrant atmosphere shifted and her mind raced with dread. What if something terrible happens? The thought gripped her heart, urging her to take action. She glanced up at the gathering storm clouds, her pulse quickening. Turning to Mark, her voice trembled with urgency. "We need to get Jake off stage. It's not safe here." Mark's expression was a mix of excitement and concern, caught between the thrill of the concert and the fear reflected in Sarah's eyes. The tension in the air thickened, foreshadowing a moment that would alter the course of their lives forever. Just as the storm clouds loomed ominously overhead, an unexpected surge of energy filled the air, thick with anticipation. The audience buzzed with excitement, completely unaware of the impending danger. Then, in an instant, the sky split open with a blinding flash of light. Lightning struck, hitting Jake directly on stage. The sound was deafening, a thunderous roar that reverberated through the crowd, sending shockwaves of disbelief and horror through the thousands gathered in Grant Park. Gasps and screams erupted from the audience as they instinctively stepped back, faces pale with shock. Some fans covered their mouths, eyes wide, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Chaos ensued. People scrambled in every direction, some rushing forward with desperate urgency, while others stood frozen, their expressions a mix of terror and confusion. The vibrant energy that had filled the air moments before was replaced by a suffocating silence, heavy with dread. In that stillness, Jake collapsed, his body going limp. A chill swept through the air, amplifying the sense of impending doom that hung over the crowd. Amid the chaos, Sarah's heart raced, each beat echoing the panic swirling within her. She felt paralyzed for a split second, the world around her blurring into a haze of fear and uncertainty. "Jake!" she screamed, her voice trembling as she pushed through the crowd, her hands shaking uncontrollably. Every step felt like a marathon, her mind racing with thoughts of his safety. The distance between her and Jake seemed insurmountable, and each moment stretched painfully, filled with the echoes of frantic voices and the distant rumble of thunder. "Please let him be okay," she whispered, desperation clawing at her throat as she navigated through the sea of terrified fans. The frantic cries of the audience filled her ears, a chaotic symphony of fear and concern, yet she focused solely on the figure lying motionless on stage. Her heart pounded as she caught sight of Jake, his still form surrounded by a growing crowd of onlookers who were equally shocked and horrified. Tears filled her eyes, blurring her vision, but she pressed on, fueled by sheer determination. This was her love, her light in the world, and she would do anything to reach him. "Move aside! Let me through!" Sarah shouted, her voice a mixture of authority and desperation as she pushed past the bystanders. She could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her, the air thick with fear and uncertainty. As she approached the stage, she could see the flicker of movement from the paramedics who had rushed in, their faces serious and focused. A wave of urgency washed over her as Sarah fought to get closer, her heart pounding in her chest. Time seemed to slow as she navigated through the crowd, the world around her fading until it was just her and Jake. "Jake, please!" she cried out, her voice breaking as she finally reached him. The sight of his still body sent a jolt of terror through her. She knelt beside him, trembling hands brushing against his cheek, feeling the coldness of his skin. Her heart ached, a heavy weight settling in her chest as she prayed for him to respond. "Please, come back to me." As the chaos around him faded, Jake experienced an overwhelming sense of weightlessness. It felt as though he was floating, untethered to the world he once knew. A gentle, radiant light enveloped him, pushing away the darkness and flooding him with a feeling of profound peace. In that moment, his worries, doubts, and fears began to melt away, replaced by an expansive calm that felt like a warm embrace. He realized he was stepping into a journey beyond anything he could have imagined. As he drifted through this ethereal realm, Jake was surrounded by vibrant colors and soothing melodies, sensations that sparked joy deep within his soul. Each note resonated with him, creating a symphony that echoed his newfound freedom. He felt lighter than air, as if the burdens he had carried for so long were finally behind him. This experience was surreal yet beautifully transformative, unlike anything he had ever known. Suddenly, Jake found himself before a figure radiating pure light. As the brilliance dimmed, he recognized the figure instantly. It was Jesus. The warmth radiating from him was palpable, wrapping around Jake like a protective shield. He felt enveloped in unconditional love, a deep compassion that eased his heart. "Welcome, my child," Jesus said, his voice resonating with a soothing authority that filled Jake's heart with hope. "You have arrived at a pivotal moment in your life." Jake stood in awe, struggling to find his voice. "Am I dead?" he asked, uncertainty lacing his words. "Not yet," Jesus replied gently. "You have been granted a glimpse beyond the veil, a chance to understand the greater truths that govern existence." Jake listened intently, his heart racing as he absorbed the weight of Jesus' message. "What does this mean for me?" he asked, a mix of curiosity and concern washing over him. "This moment is crucial for you," Jesus continued. "The ideologies you cling to carry consequences, and dismissing spiritual truths not only leads to personal turmoil, but also to a disconnection among humanity." Jake's mind whirled as he contemplated the significance of Jesus' words. "But what about my music? My message?" "Your art holds power, Jake," Jesus said, his expression earnest. "It must be used to uplift and unite. The choices you make can either illuminate the world or cast shadows over it. Embrace the love available to you and share it generously." As they spoke, Jake felt his heart expanding, filling with the love and wisdom that Jesus offered. Every fear and doubt he had ever harbored began to dissipate, replaced by clarity and a renewed sense of purpose. In that moment, he understood he had a choice that could shape not only his life, but also the lives of many others. "I want to share this love," Jake declared, his voice steady, filled with determination. "I want to help people understand." "Then you must return," Jesus said with a smile that lit up the space around them. "Your journey is not finished yet. You have much to accomplish, and the world needs your voice." Jake nodded, feeling a surge of strength and resolve. He was ready to face the challenges ahead, armed with the knowledge he had gained from this extraordinary encounter. With Jesus by his side, he knew he would not be alone. As Jake floated in the warm, serene light, he began to reflect deeply on the choices he had made throughout his life. Memories flooded his mind like a vivid movie, bringing to life the moments that had shaped him. He thought back to his early days, when music was merely a way to escape, the rhythm and lyrics allowing him to express his frustrations and desires. He recalled the thrill of his first big break, the electric rush he felt as he stood on stage, the crowd roaring with excitement. Yet beneath that exhilarating surface, there lingered a nagging feeling he often chose to ignore, a sense that his art carried a heavier weight than he realized. Fleeting images appeared before him, his first heartache, where he poured his sorrow into lyrics that resonated with thousands, and the wild joy of fame, where parties and excess often eclipsed genuine connections. Each memory was colored with both pride and regret, showcasing the complexities of his journey. Fame had gifted him adoration, but it had also created a distance from the very people who had once inspired him. Jake began to understand the impact of his music, a powerful gift he had taken for granted. "You have a unique voice, Jake," Jesus' voice echoed gently in the tranquil space. "But with that voice comes responsibility. Your words can heal or harm." Curiosity piqued. Jake turned his attention back to Jesus. "What do you mean?" he asked, eager for deeper insight. "The soul's journey is intertwined with compassion," Jesus explained with warmth. "Each action, each note you play sends ripples through the fabric of existence. Your music can inspire hope or spread discord." With every word, Jake felt layers of his former beliefs peel away, revealing a profound truth beneath. Jesus continued, "Belief is powerful. It shapes reality and influences those around you. When you connect to your soul's purpose, you help others find their own paths." The weight of this revelation resonated deeply within him. Jake could see how his skepticism had once blinded him to the potential of love and unity in the world. He had viewed life through a lens of rebellion, but now he felt the gentle tug of a higher calling. "What does it mean to awaken?" Jake asked, seeking clarity. "To awaken is to embrace the light within you," Jesus replied, his eyes sparkling with compassion. "It is to recognize the divine in yourself and in others. It is to become a beacon of hope, inspiring others through your journey." Jake took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of these words surround him. This was more than just an opportunity for personal growth. It was a chance to transform his music into a force for change. He envisioned himself on stage, not just as a performer, but as a spiritual guide, sharing messages of love and connection that could uplift and inspire. "How can I return?" Jake asked, a sense of urgency rising within him. "How can I make a difference?" "You will return with renewed purpose," Jesus assured him, a smile illuminating his face. "But remember, transformation requires effort. You must continue to seek understanding, to spread compassion, and to challenge the beliefs that divide. Only then will you harness the true power of your art." Jake felt a strong sense of commitment swell within him. He was ready to embrace this transformation, evolving from a skeptical rock star into a spiritually awakened individual, equipped with the wisdom he had gained. As he prepared to return to the physical world, he understood that this journey was just the beginning. "I will use my voice," he vowed, determination shining in his eyes. "I will share the message of love and unity." "Then go, my child," Jesus said, the light around him shimmering softly. "You are not alone. I will be with you every step of the way." As Jake began to feel a gentle pull back to his physical body, he knew he would carry this awakening with him. The transformation had started, and he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As Jake's consciousness began to awaken, it was as if he were slowly surfacing from a deep sea of darkness. The first thing that pierced through the fog was the harsh brightness of fluorescent lights overhead, stabbing at his eyes like needles. He blinked several times, trying to adjust to this new reality. The stark whiteness of the hospital room contrasted sharply with the vibrant chaos of the concert stage he had just left behind. With each blink, the blurry shapes around him began to come into focus, slowly revealing a world that felt both foreign and familiar. The mechanical beeping of medical equipment surrounded him, creating a rhythmic sound that somehow felt reassuring. It was a stark reminder that he was alive, that he had made it back. As the beeping settled into a steady pattern, Jake's heart began to race. What had happened? Where was he? A wave of anxiety washed over him, but it was quickly tempered by a deep sense of relief. Suddenly he heard a voice filled with emotion. "Jake!" It was Sarah, her voice a melody of shock and relief. He turned his head slowly, and the sight of her flooded him with warmth. She was standing there, her face a canvas of emotions, relief, love, and a hint of disbelief. Her eyes were glistening with unshed tears, each one holding a weight of worry that had lingered while he was gone. "You're back!" she cried, her voice breaking slightly as she stepped closer, her hands trembling as they reached out toward him. "Oh my God, we thought we lost you!" Her words hung in the air, and Jake could feel the intensity of her love radiating toward him. Beside her, Mark stood with a mixture of disbelief and joy. "Dude, you scared the hell out of us!" His voice was a blend of laughter and relief, the tension from the past hours finally beginning to lift. He stepped closer, his expression shifting from shock to a grin that could light up the darkest room. "You're really here!" Jake's heart swelled with gratitude as he took in the sight of his best friend and the love of his life. These two had been his rock, always there, even when he had been lost in his own world. "What happened?" he managed to croak out, his voice raspy but filled with a determination to understand. "You were struck by lightning during the show," Sarah explained, her voice trembling slightly. "It was chaos. People were screaming, and we thought we'd lost you." The weight of her words struck Jake like a bolt of lightning, but instead of fear, he felt an overwhelming sense of clarity wash over him. He had been given a second chance, and he intended to make the most of it. As Jake lay in the hospital bed, he took a deep breath, feeling the air fill his lungs as if he were experiencing it for the first time. It was a strange sensation, this sudden awareness of being alive, of truly living. The memories of his encounter with Jesus flooded back, igniting a spark of compassion that had been buried beneath layers of fame and skepticism. He felt a profound connection to his friends, to the world, and to a greater purpose that beckoned him. "I met Jesus," he said slowly, searching their faces for understanding. The astonished looks they exchanged told him they weren't ready for the depth of what he was about to share. "He told me that our words have power and that love is the most important thing we can offer. I need to change." The room fell silent, the weight of his revelation settling in the air. Jake could see the confusion in their eyes, but he also felt their unwavering support. Sarah's grip on his hand tightened, her eyes brimming with tears, but this time they were tears of hope. "We're here for you, Jake, no matter what," she whispered, her voice steady and sincere. Jake smiled, feeling the warmth of their connection envelop him like a comforting blanket. "Just be with me," he said, a newfound strength in his voice. "I want to use my music to spread a message of love and connection. I want to inspire others, not just entertain them." The weight of his mission settled upon him like a mantle, and he could feel a surge of determination coursing through his veins. "What can we do to help?" Mark asked, his voice filled with encouragement. "We've got your back, whatever you need." Jake knew he could lean on them as he navigated this transformative journey. "Together," he replied, feeling a sense of unity among them. The excitement and relief swirling in the room felt like a warm embrace. As he lay there, he realized that he wasn't just returning to his life. He was stepping into a new chapter, one filled with purpose, love, and the power to make a difference. In the days that followed, as Jake began his recovery, he often reflected on the lessons learned during his near-death experience. Each night, he would lie awake, replaying conversations with Jesus in his mind. The warmth of his presence lingered, igniting a desire to share the profound insights he had gained. "This is not just about me anymore," Jake whispered to himself one night, staring at the ceiling. "It's about the message we all need to hear." He envisioned himself back on stage, not just as a rock star, but as a messenger of hope. He imagined sharing stories that would resonate deeply, uplifting spirits and inspiring change. With renewed vigor, he began to write again. The lyrics flowed like a river, each word infused with newfound meaning. He wrote about hope, love that transcends understanding, and the connections that tie humanity together. Each line, each verse carried the weight of his journey, a journey he was now ready to share with the world. As he prepared for his return to the stage, Jake felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. He knew he had a responsibility, a duty to share what he had learned with the world. With Sarah and Mark beside him, he felt ready to take that leap into the spotlight once more, armed with a message of love and transformation. "We've got this," Sarah said, her voice filled with encouragement as they walked toward the stage for his first performance since the accident. "Together," Jake replied, feeling the weight of his journey solidify into a shared purpose. As the lights dimmed and the crowd erupted in cheers, he stepped into the spotlight, ready to embrace this new chapter in his life with open arms. As the weeks passed, Jake found himself diving into conversations that felt more meaningful than anything he had experienced before. With Sarah and Mark by his side, he began to share the profound insights he had gained from his near-death experience. They often gathered in the cozy embrace of his living room, surrounded by familiar posters from his rock star days, reminders of a life filled with fame, but also with loneliness. "I used to think I was untouchable," Jake confessed, his voice steady yet tinged with emotion. "But during my experience, I learned how fragile life really is. I encountered a love that was pure and unconditional, and it transformed me." He took a moment, his heart racing as he sought to connect with their understanding. Sarah, with her eyes wide and attentive, leaned forward. "What was it like, Jake, meeting Jesus?" Her question was laced with curiosity and reverence, and it drew Jake deeper into the recollections of that sacred moment. "It was as if I was wrapped in warmth," he recalled, a smile breaking through the weight of his words. "It was a hug that transcended everything, time, pain, and even sorrow. He showed me what true love looks like, and it's our duty to share that with everyone." Mark, always the thoughtful one, nodded along. "So you really believe we're all connected? That our actions matter?" "Absolutely," Jake replied, a fire igniting within him. "Every word we speak and every action we take sends ripples through the universe. I want to use my platform to spread that message. We need to heal, not just as individuals, but as a community." Sarah's face lit up, her enthusiasm bubbling over. "That's incredible, Jake. It's like you've been given a second chance, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you." "Exactly," Jake exclaimed, feeling the energy in the room shift. They explored deep topics of spirituality, redemption, and the purpose of life. They discussed how often people misunderstood faith and how society sometimes viewed spiritual beliefs with skepticism, especially in a world focused on materialism. Jake's resolve deepened as he suggested an idea that had been forming in his mind. "I want to confront my past and share my experience openly," he declared, his eyes gleaming with determination. "I want to hold a press conference where I can talk about my near-death experience and promote a message of unity and understanding." The idea sent a thrill through him. He envisioned standing before his fans, not just as a musician, but as a messenger of hope and transformation. "I want to be honest about my journey. It's not just about me. It's about everyone who feels lost or disconnected." The day of the press conference arrived, and the atmosphere buzzed with excitement and anticipation. Fans gathered outside the venue, their energy electric. As Jake stepped onto the stage, he felt the weight of countless eyes upon him, but this time, he didn't feel fear. He felt a wave of love and connection wash over him. "Thank you all for being here today," he began, his voice strong but full of humility. "I stand before you not just as a musician, but as someone who has experienced something extraordinary." He shared his near-death experience with sincerity, recounting the warmth he felt in the presence of Jesus and the vital lessons he learned about life, compassion, and our shared humanity. As he spoke, he saw expressions shift among the audience, from curiosity to deep understanding. A few fans even wiped away tears, touched by his vulnerability. "This isn't just my story. It's a call for all of us to embrace love over fear, to uplift one another," he continued, his voice growing stronger with conviction. "Let's create a world where we listen to each other, where we seek understanding instead of division." After the conference, Jake was met with an outpouring of support. Fans approached him, sharing their own struggles and victories. "You've opened my eyes," one fan said, her voice trembling with emotion. "I felt lost for so long, but your story gives me hope." However, not everyone embraced Jake's transformation with open arms. Some skeptics emerged, voicing their concerns and challenging his newfound beliefs. "How can you just change everything overnight? You were a rock star living in excess," one commentator exclaimed during a heated online debate. This backlash surprised Jake, but also ignited deeper conversations than he had anticipated. "What if I'm wrong? What if this is all just a phase?" He found himself questioning during quiet moments. Yet, he remembered the love he had felt during his encounter with Jesus. It anchored him, giving him the strength to stand firm in his beliefs. Jake decided to confront the skepticism directly. "I know change can seem sudden, but I'm here to say it's never too late to redefine yourself," he responded during a follow-up interview. "We all have the capacity for growth and transformation, regardless of our past." In the weeks that followed, he organized community events to discuss spirituality, love, and understanding. These gatherings became a sanctuary where people could express their beliefs, share their doubts, and offer one another support. Jake found joy in facilitating these connections, witnessing how his story inspired others to share their journeys. As he embraced this new chapter of his life, Jake felt more alive than ever. His music flowed from him with newfound passion, each note echoing his transformative journey. He understood that his purpose extended beyond entertainment. He was meant to inspire and connect. With Sarah and Mark by his side, Jake was ready to take on the world, not as the reckless rock star he once was, but as a beacon of hope and love, determined to make a difference, one note at a time. As Jake Rivers embraced his new purpose, the impact of his near-death experience began to ripple out, touching the lives of many around him. His transformation was not just about him. It became a source of hope for others searching for direction in their lives. From concert venues to social media platforms, stories emerged from fans who felt deeply inspired by Jake's shift in perspective. Each narrative echoed themes of resilience, redemption, and the quest for meaning in a chaotic world. One of those profoundly affected was Lisa, a young woman grappling with depression and anxiety. She had once idolized Jake's rebellious music, finding comfort in his lyrics that mirrored her feelings of despair. But after hearing about his journey, Lisa felt compelled to reevaluate her own beliefs. Inspired by Jake's courage, she took the brave step of seeking professional help and began to open up about her struggles. She started a blog where she shared her journey, highlighting the importance of vulnerability and connection. In her first post, she wrote, "Jake showed me that life is more than just the noise. There's a deeper truth waiting to be uncovered." The response was overwhelming, and soon she found herself surrounded by a community of individuals who, like her, were in search of hope and healing. Across the country, a teenager named Marcus faced bullying at school for being true to himself. His refuge had always been Jake's music, which resonated with his feelings of alienation. After learning about Jake's public transformation, Marcus felt a surge of empowerment. He decided to advocate for LGBTQ+ rights within his community, using his own story to inspire others. At a school assembly, he spoke candidly about his challenges and how Jake's journey encouraged him to embrace his identity. "We all deserve love and acceptance, just as we are," he declared passionately, mirroring Jake's new message of unity and understanding. However, with the rise of these inspiring stories came challenges. Jake was not shielded from backlash from some of his previous fans, many of whom were resistant to his new outlook. Some former supporters expressed disappointment and anger, accusing him of abandoning the very essence of what made his music powerful. On social media, trolls and skeptics left hurtful comments, questioning his authenticity. "You've sold out, Jake," one commenter shouted, while another scoffed. "What happened to the rebellious rock star we loved?" The weight of these negative remarks pressed down on Jake, and moments of doubt crept into his mind. He grappled with fears that perhaps he was losing touch with the artistry that had made him who he was. During these times of vulnerability, he often leaned on Sarah, who remained a steadfast pillar of support. Her unwavering faith in his journey provided the encouragement he needed to persevere. "Remember why you started," she reminded him gently during late-night conversations. "You have a chance to make a real difference. That's more powerful than any song." Sarah, with her calm spirit and profound understanding of spirituality, became Jake's confidant. Together, they devised a plan to address the backlash while staying true to his beliefs. They organized outreach initiatives, engaging both supporters and skeptics to foster open discussions about spirituality, acceptance, and the importance of community. Jake often emphasized that change is a gradual process, requiring patience and compassion from everyone involved. "We're all on this journey together," he would say, urging fans to embrace conversations rather than divide over differing beliefs. As Jake shared his story, he witnessed the ripple effect of his journey transforming not only individuals but entire communities. In places where darkness had once loomed, light began to shine through as people gathered to share their struggles, hopes, and dreams. Jake's music, now infused with messages of healing and unity, resonated deeply with both old and new fans alike. His concerts became spaces for connection, celebrations of shared humanity that encouraged openness and love. Through the struggles and challenges, Jake learned that the path to transformation is rarely smooth. But as he looked at the faces in the crowd, each one inspired and united by a common purpose, He knew that the journey was worth every challenge. The ripple effect was real, and with every story of change, Jake felt a renewed sense of purpose driving him forward. As the vibrant lights dimmed and the crowd erupted into cheers, Jake stood at the center of the stage, his heart racing with anticipation. This was not just another concert, it was a moment of profound significance. Here, he was ready to share not just his music, but his very soul. The energy in the arena was electric, a mixture of excitement and hope that enveloped him like a warm embrace. Taking a deep breath, Jake looked out at the sea of faces illuminated by the glow of cell phones and eager smiles. This moment felt surreal, a culmination of a journey that had taken him from the chaotic highs of fame to the deep introspection brought on by his near-death experience. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "What I want to share with you goes beyond music. It's about life, love, and the journey of our souls." Jake scanned the crowd, soaking in the diverse faces before him. Each person had their own story, their own struggles and triumphs. We come from different walks of life, yet we are all connected by something profound: love, compassion, and the journey of our souls. I want you to know that you are not alone in your struggles. We're all in this together, navigating the complexities of life. With every word he spoke, Jake felt an overwhelming sense of connection. He reflected on his past, the moments of doubt, confusion, and pain that he had experienced, but also the flashes of joy and enlightenment that had illuminated his path. "I was once lost in a world that celebrated fame and superficiality, chasing after things that ultimately left me empty. But through my near-death experience, I was awakened to something much greater. I learned that life is fleeting, and what truly matters is how we treat one another." As he spoke, memories flooded back, faces of fans who had reached out to him after he shared his story, sharing how his transformation inspired them to embrace love and understanding. "We have the power to change the world, one small act of kindness at a time," he urged, his voice rising with passion. "Let's lift each other up instead of tearing one another down. Together, we can create a ripple effect of love that resonates far beyond this moment." In that instant, he couldn't help but think of Sarah, his rock, the unwavering support who had stood by him through every trial. Her love had been a beacon, guiding him back to himself when the world felt dark and confusing. "I couldn't have done this without Sarah," he said, nodding toward her in the audience. "She reminded me of my true self, of the power of love to heal and uplift." As the crowd erupted in applause, Jake felt the warmth of their support wrap around him like a comforting blanket. This was a collective heartbeat, a rhythm of shared experiences, dreams, and the desire to connect on a deeper level. "Remember," he continued, his voice steady yet passionate, "we all have the ability to impact one another's lives. Sometimes it's just a kind word, a moment of understanding, or simply being there for someone in need. Every small act of love creates ripples that can change lives." As he felt the energy swell around him, Jake knew it was time to share something special. A new song he had written, inspired by his journey and the lessons he had learned. This was not just a performance, it was a celebration of life itself. The melody was haunting yet uplifting, infused with themes of growth, redemption, and the power of the human spirit. As he began to sing, the lyrics poured out like a river of emotion, touching on the depths of despair and the heights of joy. "Let love be our guide, let compassion lead the way," he sang, his voice resonating through the crowd. Fans swayed in unison, completely absorbed in the moment. Each note echoed the sentiments he had just expressed, intertwining with the hearts of his listeners. The song became a tribute not only to his own transformation, but to the journey of everyone present, a reminder of the beauty found in connection. As the final notes lingered in the air, a hush fell over the crowd. Jake closed his eyes for a moment, absorbing the energy that surrounded him. This was a poignant scene, a culmination of struggles, triumphs, and revelations. When he opened his eyes, he was met with a wave of admiration from the audience, their faces reflecting a deep emotional resonance with his message. In that instant, Jake realized that his transformation had become a mirror, reflecting the potential for change within each person before him. "You have the power to create change," he said softly, his voice filled with conviction. "Embrace your journey, and know that every step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward healing." The cheers erupted once more, a thunderous wave of sound that surged through him, reaffirming his purpose. Jake knew that he had moved beyond being just a rock star. He had become a catalyst for change, a beacon of hope in a world that needed it now more than ever. This was not just about him, it was about every individual in that audience, the lives they would touch, and the ripples of love they could create. As the performance came to a close, Jake took a moment to reflect on the significance of the night. It was a celebration of life, a gathering of souls yearning for connection and meaning. He envisioned the countless lives that would be touched by his message, people going home inspired to reach out, connect, and share their own stories of resilience and hope. With the final notes fading into the night, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had opened his heart, shared his truth, and embraced his vulnerability. In return, he had received the love and support of a community hungry for connection. This was just the beginning of a new chapter, not only for him, but for everyone who had been part of this journey. Jake took a moment to soak in the atmosphere, breathing deeply as he stepped off the stage. He could already feel the changes that were beginning to unfold, the conversations that would spark, and the connections that would deepen in the wake of his message. As he exited, he was met by Sarah, her eyes shining with pride and love. She embraced him tightly, a reminder that no matter how tumultuous the journey, love would always guide him home. Together, they stepped into the future, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, fueled by hope, compassion, and an unwavering belief in the power of love. Thank you for joining us on this profound journey through Jake's incredible transformation. We hope his story has inspired you to reflect on your own beliefs and the power of compassion in our lives. If you loved what you saw, please consider subscribing to our channel for more uplifting stories and meaningful content. Your likes and comments not only help us grow, but also motivate us to keep sharing these powerful messages. Remember, your journey matters, and so does every soul you encounter along the way. Until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep embracing the beauty of life.